What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Well, in today's video, we are going over Mana as we have seen 4 green days in a row at this point. We're seeing it up about 5 to 6% today. Things are looking good, and a lot of people are starting to ask themselves the good old question of whether or not now is the time to be buying. So with that being said, of course, let's go ahead, let's skip the BS, let's skip the fluff, and let's get straight to the good stuff. So what we're looking at right now is the fact that, again, we are seeing the break of trend off of many of these downtrends in which we saw. Many of the downtrends we saw in the market, whether it be Mana or Sand or Link or Dot, a lot of them are seeing a lot of growth right now. And of course, that is good, but we need to start to continue to look for confirmations. So what I'm doing with Mana right now is I am preparing a buy, but it's not here just yet. Now, what I've noticed is that we did see a few good things happening to say that Mana does seem to be swinging in bullish momentum. What that means is that we definitely could be looking at some type of nice retracement back up towards maybe even $5 at some point relatively soon here. Now, looking at a few things on the Mana charts, what we can see is the fact that we have put in something of a W bottom on the daily charts. Now, when we see things like this form, that is inherently bullish, of course. It means that we are finding key levels of support. This actually has a little bit of an ascending level of support, which generally means that the bulls are more willing to buy it at some of these higher up levels, and the bears are struggling to push it down, which is always a good thing. And as we do start to see this, we know that this definitely could be a reversal formation. Looking at the daily MACD, another thing in which we can see is that we just got the extremely bullish blue-orange cross on the MACD, in which our blue EMA goes up through our orange EMA. Now, as that has happened, of course, our red candles are starting to turn green, as we can see here. As long as we do close this day in the green, we will likely see our green candle formations begin here, and all of that to say that this does look as if we may start to see some type of bullish formation happening. Now, also going down to our RSI, one thing we can see is that we're not seeing any major divergences happening just yet, but there are a few. So, of course, we have gone from this high up here down to where we are. We are still setting lower highs, as well as still setting some lower highs here. But what we can notice and what we do need to pay attention to is that in the short term, from high to high, we're setting a lower high, and from high to high, we're setting a higher high. Now, the good thing about this is that although this is some short-term bearish divergence, if we are able to see the price push back up above $3.69, we will invalidate that bearish divergence, which will allow us to see a continued move to the upside, in my opinion, due to a lacking of bearish divergence, which could allow some selling pressure or some bearish pressure to just push the price back down. All of that simply just to say that things are looking as if we are seeing a big swing in bullish momentum for Mana right now. Now, what we need to be watching out for, personally speaking, is how do we start to interact with some of these key levels. At this exact moment, one thing we can see is that we are seeing a bit of Fibonacci resistance based off of this larger swing high to our swing low. What you can see is that we've come directly up to our 0.786 level at $3.52, and we are still struggling to clear it. Now, in the event in which we do clear this, I am personally expecting that we will see this push back up towards $3.65 to $3.70. That is the level in which I am looking to see the daily close above, and if we are to see that happen, I am going to start a smaller position. Now, the reason that I say that is because at that point, we will then have gone up to set, more of a macro high in that event. Of course, we could be looking at a macro high being set in comparison to here, and that is full confirmation of the bullish reversal in which we're looking for. Once we set the higher high, then of course we just need to come back down to set the higher low. So all of that to go ahead and say that the level that I'm watching right now is roughly $3.70, and that if we're able to clear 370, that's the level in which I am looking to make some type of smaller entry. Nothing crazy, but definitely a smaller entry, as I am under the belief that we will be looking at a continuation back up to the top side. Now, of course, what does invalidate this is that if any given point we start to come back down below $2.92 and putting in a lower low from what we saw here, that completely invalidates this bullish reversal that we're looking for. What's good about that is $2.92 is very far away realistically. And so what that means is we do have room to range a little bit before eventually seeing this breakout without having to worry about invalidating the idea of a bullish reversal. So what that means for us is that right now, $3.69 to $3.70 is serving as extremely important. One thing you can also see is that that's going to be one of our last rather large peaks on VPVR, just meaning that once we clear it, it does seem to be a relatively smooth slope back up towards some of these key levels, maybe even as high as $5. And last but not least, if we do look at something like our EMAs, one thing you can also see, let's get this turned on, is that we are looking to now re-clear the 20 EMA on the daily charts, which has historically proven to be a fantastic step for Mana. Once we do start to clear it, there have been many times in the past where we see the clearing, boom, and we do see even a retracement or some type of eventual large growth. So overall, the fact that we are seeing that retracement happen, the fact that we are seeing the good moves happen, we're seeing our indicators turning bullish, we're seeing a lot of bullish sentiment re-entering into the market, as well as the fact that our EMAs are being cleared. I do believe that we could be looking at some type of pretty solid growth relatively soon here. So definitely do keep an eye on $3.70, as that is going to provide us with a lot of what we need to know. Now, do be aware that when we see these big moves and we see clearings of key levels of resistance, there is a strong chance of us in the short term back testing that as support. So don't be surprised if, looking at the 4-hour charts, we start to work our way. Yeah, we're already working our way back up towards some of this overbought territory, which could, of course, lead to a bit of a retracement in the short term. So don't be too shocked if you do see maybe even a roll at $3.70 before that eventual clearing. That is totally normal. And especially if we do get a clearing of $3.70, don't be surprised whatsoever to see us come back down to it and look to establish it as support, okay? So just keep an eye out. A lot of our shorter time frames are starting to look a little bit overbought. They are looking a little bit extended. But on the dailies, we are seeing a lot of bullish sentiment entering into the market, and that does give us a lot of, maybe a little bit more of foresight that we could be looking at something more of a midterm move to the upside. So with that being said, of course, I will keep you guys as up to date as I possibly can. Watch your confirmations at 370, watch your invalidations at 292. They're going to tell you every single thing that you need to know of what you can be looking forward to and what we can expecting over the short, mid, and long term. But with that being said, again, I hope you guys did enjoy today's video, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.